Hey Tap Fam, Mike here. Do you want to fill your fridge with unique craft beers, ciders, or seltzers that you can't find locally? Then Tavor is your answer. I partner with them to bring you this exclusive offer for my Taproom listeners. When you use the promo code TAPROOM25, you get a $10 credit towards your next purchase when you spend $25 in the app or online. Tavor has it all, from IPAs to stouts, sours, ciders, and so much more. So make sure you use the promo code TAPROOM25 to get a $10 credit towards your next purchase. And now, on to the episode. All right, and we're back. This is episode 103 of the Taproom Podcast, and I'm your host, Mike. Oh man, what a day it was yesterday. But this episode, before we get into all that, this episode is with Jared Gonzales of Long Beach Beer Lab. Man, thanks for being on. It was a really fun episode. It was cool, and you actually got me into a band that ended up liking. Is called Night Flight Orchestra. Like, if you're into like hair metal at all, or like 80s kind of metal, it reminds me so much of like the Scorpions and stuff like that. Every song it's actually going to be in the reel, so you'll be able to see that too. But yeah, such a good dude. We talked video games. We talked music. Obviously, we talked beer, all that good stuff. But yeah, he's definitely. It's the second brewer now I've had. From Long Beach Beer Lab. Obviously, shout out to my buddy Nadav out in Israel. Both great people. Like, Levy knows how to pick them. So, if you're in the area, definitely go down there. They're doing an event in a couple weeks, which I'm going to try to go to for the Princess Bride. They do a Valentine's Day thing there. So I'm excited to go. I'm going to go and I want to check out the beers are going to be great. They do the Brute Squad. They do the Tumble Down one. I can't remember. That's the Wild Ale. And then you get to watch Princess Bride. Like, what's better than that? So I'm super stoked to go do that. Let's see here. All right. Yeah. So let's start the week. So it was a fun week. I went to Breweria on Wednesday, which was cool. I hadn't been in a bit. So went and had a couple beers there. And then I was at ISM on Friday. Actually, was hanging out and, had a kind of a little meeting with Daniel from Beer Paper. Not going to talk about all that stuff just yet, but I did want to mention that I will be writing a couple of articles for Beer Paper. So I won't get into what that's about just yet, but that is going to happen. Like I said, the other stuff I'm going to wait to talk about. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, I was supposed to go to the Burning Daylight anniversary yesterday. I ended up cooking for the family, so I wasn't able to make it, and things were just kind of hectic yesterday. So. But also the Royal Rumble was yesterday. So that's like one of the things we always get together for, like me and the family. We barbecue. I made quesadilla tacos. Those are bomb. And I also made some habanero chile. That was really fire. And I'm actually going to make a fat breakfast burrito after this, after I record this. So the Rumble was cool though, man. Like, it was super fun. Like, we got one predictable winner, and then we thought we were going to get two, because Charlotte Flair won the women's Rumble, and then Jey Uso won the men's Rumble. So we were just kind of shocked that Jey Uso won. I think everybody thought it was going to be Cena because it's the one last time thing, his last hurrah. So yeah, it was a fun day. Like, it was a really fun day. I'm just burnt out. I was on my feet all day for the most part. So cooking, I don't know how long I was cooking for, but it was a good time. So still a good time. What else we got? Luka went to the Lakers. And I feel like if they can have like some cohesiveness right away, like get that chemistry to get rolling quickly, they could. I mean, they could. That could be special. Obviously, Luka's a great talent, and obviously LeBron's a generational talent. We got Reeves and those guys, and like I said, I'm not a Laker fan at all. Everybody listening should know that by now. I'm a Bulls fan, but kudos for them to be able to pull that off. Anthony Davis, like, great player, obviously, but I feel like he's just always had a hard time staying healthy. So, is what it is though, right? I mean, you got to do what you got to do, and the organizations have to move on. So, yeah. All right. This coming Thursday on February the 6th, the collab beer is going to be out over from Burning Daylight, the Brutes of Our Labor, our West Coast Brute. Super stoked. I wish I could have been there yesterday to try one out of the tank, but, stuff comes up and we got to do what we got to do. So, yeah. So I'm excited for to be there on canning day, and then I'm going to be in Arizona. I might try to get an interview in while I'm out there. I was gonna go Friday, but it looks like I'm gonna have to go Saturday and then come back Monday because it's Super Bowl weekend, which should be pretty good. I mean, I think the line I saw was that the Chiefs are favored by 1.5. I feel like that's gonna be really tight. I'm hoping for the Eagles. We'll see how it goes though. All right, well, I'm gonna shut up now. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Jared. Like I said, make sure you go down and support at Long Beach Beer Lab. They have great food, really great sourdough pizza, and great beer. Great people too. So, all right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and stay tuned for the outro. Cheers. All right, guys, we're back in the tap room, and I'm your host, Mike. And I have a very special guest on the show today. It's Jared Gonzales of Long Beach Beer Lab. How you doing, brother?
Good, my friend. Nice to formally meet you.
Oh, yeah.
Seen a lot of your work on Instagram and heard some of the podcasts in the past. So
thank you.
To be here.
I appreciate it. And I'm glad we got to do it. I know we've been talking for a little bit, so I'm glad we got to sit down and do this. Before we jump into your craft beer journey, though, we do have a beer with us here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This is, like I mentioned before, the first Pilsner I've got to do here. Beer Labs didn't have a Pilsner beforehand.
Okay.
So put this one together. I mean, I'd been at Hop Saint for the last 4 years before coming here, and we made a Hoppy Pils, every month. So
yeah,
I'm no longer a stranger to it. But being able to, like I mentioned, throw it into a horizontal tank, throw it in horizontal bright for about 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Besides going to like Moonlight or any of these places that are actual like lager breweries,
yeah,
I never really got to do that, myself. I mean, production life doesn't really give you the time to put 2 months for a tank. Usually turn and burn, baby. You got to move.
Oh yeah, for sure. But this is good. This is really good.
Thanks, man.
With the lacing on it too. The lacing's great.
Just my old brewmaster over at Hop Saint, Brian, had told me, it doesn't need to be complex, as far as like a recipe for especially something like a Mexican lager or any kind of pills. Like it could be super straightforward. It's how do you take care of it?
Yeah.
Do you manage it well? Can you sell it at proper, oxygen, obviously keeping it out. And I tell the staff all the time because we've, got a fairly green staff in the back right now, but, it's not easy to do something like this and keep quality oxygen down, sanitation up, and be able to keep it for 3 months in a tank without screwing something up. Like that's a testament to yourself right there.
Oh, for sure.
And you're able to taste it, which it's clean, it's crisp.
Oh, definitely.
Time in a tank will do that for you.
Oh yeah, for sure. So tell us how you got started in craft beer.
So my buddy Chris, who was the old brewing operations director at Three Weavers, took me to 2 places, Kinetic over in Palmdale, Lancaster.
Okay.
Lancaster, actually. He took me over there to try his place because he just got a job working with Alex Noel, who was the owner of Three Weavers.
Yeah.
One of them, actually. And showed me what craft beer can be.
Oh, yeah.
I had tried beer with buddies, playing video games late at night, drinking some Newcastles or something.
Yeah.
But the first time I'd stepped foot into a brewery and, seeing the stainless and... I mean, everyone kind of says it when they see it, like, you do this for a living? Like, wow, I want to drink beer for a job.
Yeah.
Ignorantly, everyone just kind of thinks that when they ask you.
Of course.
Empty kegs in the back. You need help?
Yeah.
But did that, got introduced to Alex, and then went to I believe it's called the Art and Music Festival in Santa Monica.
Okay.
So they have a little gathering of about like 15, 20 breweries, and this was like my first quote-unquote festival I'd worked. So... same thing. I kind of just met people, met brewers, met owners, and I had that bug. I just wanted to be in the industry. So around 2013, 2014, I started popping into the brewery as they're kind of getting built and, just nudging the shoulder like, hey, need some help, I'm here to work. I'm here to help.
Yeah.
Eventually they needed a sound system installed and I do music. So I'm like, oh yeah, I put speakers in for you guys. Speakers are easy.
Yeah.
Give them a clock-in number and make them work. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So started in the tap room 2014. Eventually, if you kind of like almost anywhere, you show a little initiative and I mean, if you're not messing up, which is especially important in the back,
Of course.
hey, why don't you come clean some kegs? Because they don't want to do it. So make the bartender do it. So after a while of cleaning kegs, maybe about 6 to 8 months in, I started kind of doing it on the normal, a couple days out of the week, and eventually full-time pulled in the back. Cellar work, cleaning tanks, cleaning kegs, cleaning lines. And then eventually, they trusted me enough to put me on can line operation. And I kind of call that my first big boy job.
Okay.
In charge of some extremely expensive equipment.
Yeah.
And the operation itself, especially in production, like it can't mess anything up. Otherwise, Stone ain't going to get their order, or company ain't going to get their cans or bottles or what have you. So I was there for about 4.5 years, left briefly to State over in Gardena before they shut down. And then around 2020, February or March, kind of like as COVID was starting to pick up, I needed a job, and Brian Brewer at Hop Saint, he needed some help over there. And I ended up just taking a cellar / like brewer's assistant position over there. Terrence left probably like a year after that, and I was brewing ever since.
Okay.
And Brian, I would say, while I did have, Alex as my brewmaster in the past, I learned a lot of really good cellar techniques, like how to take care of beer, keep a cellar production schedule going, run a crew, fix equipment, especially big 30 fill head can line.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I learned my brewing chops from Brian, who is, probably one of the smartest people I've met.
Okay.
He
That's cool.
has an answer for anything you got. And if he doesn't have the answer, give him 20 minutes. He'll research it and find it out. Because he is Mr. Science. He is Mr. Palate. He is, he's the reason I question and do as much as I do now.
Mm-hmm.
I rarely meet someone like that. So it's cool. I feel like I've kind of got the best of both worlds to give me where I'm at now, where, at this point now I'm running the crew back here and able to teach them what they need to learn as far as like speed, quality, quality control, and just, overall, my biggest thing is just making sure no one's, doesn't want to do the job anymore or burnt out. Because just like any job, this one is a labor of love.
Of course,
you got to really want to do what you want to do back here. And having many moments of burnout myself, I'm just really trying my hardest not to pass that on to my staff.
Yeah,
I want them to want to come in and have a good time. I'm not trying to joke and be silly all the time.
Yeah,
but you got to make it fun.
Of course,
we're scrubbing stuff. We're my buddy from Ventura, Danny White. He's the owner of Bellringer, and he always said, "We're janitors, man.
Yeah,
we're janitors. We're
much,
scientists. We're cooks, but more importantly, we're janitors."
Yeah,
which very true.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of gets into where I am now. Hop Saint. Me and Brian made some really, really solid beer. We ended up getting a GABF bronze last year. We ended up getting Brewers Cup bronze and I think bronze and gold in Mexican lager and Pilsner.
Nice.
And a couple of other, ones from like San Diego International stuff, which, for me and what I'm trying to tell the staff too, it's not like I'm sitting here praying and hoping that I win an award or something.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It's nice to see that the stuff we're doing, and all the time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears actually, gets us something.
Yeah. It's that validation.
Yeah, absolutely. And my brewer here, Ty, he constantly is, I want to get that gold. I want to get that medal. I want to prove it. But in the meantime, we're having some of our peers come in more and positive reinforcement, nothing but good notes from everybody. And it's nice. And for the staff too, like you see his chest puff up, a little bit when he hears like, oh, all the big wigs came over here and they were trying my beer that I brewed. I'm like, yeah, you brewed it. He cellared it. He canned it. No part of the process was messed up, and that's not easy to do. Exactly.
You guys are a family back there.
Try to be, brother. Try to be.
Oh, yeah. But that's great, though, because, like you said, with any job, you have to try to make it fun in some capacity, because then you're just going to freaking hate your life, hate your job. It's like, come on.
Well, what kind of production are you going to get out of your staff if they don't want to be there?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's going to, trickle into the product.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And we've seen the last couple of years, especially since COVID, many places are shutting down. So you got to kind of be, dotting the I's and crossing the T's on everything if you want to really try to put out your best product, as well as, just stay afloat.
Oh, for sure. And I always feel like if you make a quality product, people will find it.
Agreed.
It takes some, sometimes it may take some time. It's not like, it can be like a slow built process, but if you're making good beer, people will find it.
Oh, agreed. Alex from Three Weavers had told me years ago, just like you said, the beer speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
If it's good and it's high quality, people will want it.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I constantly tell the guys back here too, you know how good your place is if you have, people from other breweries coming to see you.
Oh yeah.
I thankfully I've seen a lot of my friends have come in and come to see me and stuff, but other people just curious to see what everything's been tasting like has been real. I mean, it's nice for me. It makes me feel good on the inside. Like, oh shoot, that owner wanted to come and try our beer. Like, yeah, that's awesome. Good to hear.
Oh, for sure, man. And I mean, we were talking a little off air about, Pilsners and stuff like that. And like, obviously, like there's so much, I feel like there's a lot, not to say that in an IPA is that there isn't a ton of care that goes into it, but I feel like with a Pilsner or a lager, there is so much more that goes into it because you can't hide behind anything really.
Agreed.
And you made a great one here. Like, so what's kind of your approach to like when it comes to recipe development or anything like that?
So I have kind of my books I'll go to. Brian had kind of shown me how he does it. It's honestly just, if you don't already have something done prior, I like to do a little research. I have a couple of books that I'll reference that will give me some history. And one of the ones I have even has recipes for certain ones too. So I don't 100% just like, okay, I'm doing that recipe and we'll call it. I kind of like to go through and see like, okay, just like if I was cooking some ribs up or if I was making a steak, like let me look up some techniques on some people and okay, maybe I'll do like reverse sear and then I'll cook it at a certain temperature, I kind of just look at all of them and think to myself like, okay, I like the quality of this. I like the quality of this. Look, I know the award people want you to make it taste a certain way, but you know what? I'm going to make it a little more biscuity because I like that,
Yeah.
And little by little, just kind of go about it that way. Just see what the history says, and I mean what is being asked of this beer, and just in my own little way, like okay, a little percentage of this, a little percentage of that. When it comes to something like the Pilsner or Mexican lager, I just try to keep it simple. Just a lot of base malt, a little carafoam, some acidulated if I need it, and then just let it ride. The fermentation's been the biggest thing that I'd say is probably what makes or breaks a beer.
Yeah.
When I first got here to Beer Labs, we were getting our bigger glycol system installed. We have a smaller one on the roof that does the job, but barely.
Okay.
And so some of my first lagers I made here, I was unable to, knock my wort out at a proper temperature. So by the time I got to the tank, I mean, I'll be honest, the yeast was pretty much already going. Like it's way quicker than I would have wanted. It was way too warm. And in turn, the beer itself tasted fine. Wasn't terrible, wasn't bad. Yeah. But I could taste the stressed out yeast in that. I could taste everything wrong with what should have been just a clean, crisp, just simple beer. It just gave so much extra yeast character I wasn't even asking for.
Oh, gotcha.
So what you're tasting now is, finally we getting the new one installed, and hey, I could knock out at a super cold temperature. I mean, I used to just knock out at a little warmer because I need production lagers or production pilsners. So I don't have time to sit there and wait 2 months. So I need to kind of kick up now, but not that quick.
Yeah.
And so what's kind of neat is I've done my reading through some of the, Freem and Bierstadt, some of the other, guys that do it, some of the best lagers around town or in the United States, and just trying to get that technique into what I'm doing here. Just even, slow it down just a little bit more. This lager yeast just, I only use 3470. I'm basic. Yeah. But it doesn't want to be anything other than just nice and chill. Just don't mess with it. Just leave it alone. And some would say making an IPA is harder. Some would say making a lager is harder. I think making a good IPA is probably harder. Yeah. Just because there's so many ingredients. There's so many new oils and extracts and concentrates and things you could toss into it to make it taste great. But I think making a lager is easier, to be 100% honest.
Okay.
It's just take care of it.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. Just make it and leave it alone and just take care of the environment that it's in. And you're going to I swear you'll make a solid beer. I swear. But yeah, so and it's kind of a long-winded way of going about it. But yeah, so it's just it's kind of like what my thought process on it, because I tell people all the time, it's like, I can't make a good lager. I'm like, simplify it.
Yeah.
And these guys in the back hear me say it all the time. Just simplify.
Yeah.
Simplify. It's not hard, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And for what would be your? Would you rather brew a lager, or like what's your favorite styles like to brew?
I would like to brew lagers.
Okay.
I have like 3 or 4 in the tanks right now.
Okay.
And I think it's mostly just down to I've been at 10 years now, so I don't want to drink pales and IPAs and stouts every single beer.
Yeah.
But if I could drink a bunch of a beer, it would definitely be something around the 5% mark.
Oh, yeah.
So, nowadays, this is kind of just tailored towards what I want to drink. And honestly, I find so much satisfaction in drinking this crisp, clean, delicious. And like you said, you can't hide behind anything. So if it's not good, I'm going to know. I mean, anyone around you could taste and tell. I had a buddy of mine that does paintings with bottle tops. Like he gets like beer bottles and he just like paints like tapping. And he's a baker from France, and he has a very similar test to what I call the lager test. He does a glazed donut test.
Okay,
try your glazed donut, and if he hates it, he ain't gonna try any other donuts from you.
Yeah,
because I mean, just like a lager, it's just dough and glaze, and it's just a simple donut. And if anything's wrong with that, you will tell. You'll be able to know right off the bat if the sugar's wrong or the dough's old or what have you.
Yeah. And I always feel like, because that's why one of the reasons why I always order like a lager or pilsner first, because I know if that's good, usually everything else is going to be pretty good.
100%. Not to say you could fudge an IPA and make it great.
Yeah.
I mean, but you can with all the extra extracts you can add these days, you could hide stuff a little better. But if it's oxidized or you have like acetaldehyde or any of these other like off flavors you're looking for, I mean, you're going to taste it. It's there. You can't always just make a cucumber lager and hope that it's covering all the stuff that you don't want to be there. Like there's a reason it's there.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, it's for sure, man. So like, those would be your favorite styles to drink. Like, how do you balance, like, because I mean, obviously, like with a bigger facility like this, how do you balance like the creativity and consistency part of everything?
Well, I mean, if we're able to cover all of the distribution and I guess just like the beer we need for ourselves in the other tap room, we do have a little bit of wiggle room to mess around. I mean, the whole lager program that I'm implementing now, we have 3 15-barrel tanks and a 10. Those just kind of stay off to the side. I mean, I could do a decently sized batch in these big tanks if I needed to keep the smaller ones available. And in turn, we're able to do we're doing a wit beer with orange peel pretty soon. We just brewed a Bock probably about a month ago. No, actually about 2-3 weeks ago. And then just sprinkling in all the little fun stuff in between.
Okay.
For me, my next goal after this batch of Mexican lager gets its yeast out of the tank, we'll be making another West Coast Pils, India Pale Lager, whatever you want to call it. You know how there's like 10 names for these beers these days.
Oh, yeah.
Just something around 5.5% and just real stinky and danky.
Love it. Are you guys still doing, because I know every year before, like they would do, or Long Beach Beer Lab would do the Princess Bride theme stuff. I mean, the Brute IPA is like one of my favorites.
I wish the Brute would come back. Just Brutes in general. It's a style that no one really cared for, but I was all about it.
Oh, same. Yeah. Because when I told my buddy because when we did the collab yesterday, when I was telling another friend about it, he's like, "Oh, so you're the 1% that likes that style?" I was like,
yes,
"Yep."
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
1000%.
It's such a wonky, weird thing to be as dry as it is. I mean, I started drinking some pretty weird beers. My first craft beer I was into was Dogfish at 90 Minute.
Oh, great. Yeah.
And Flying Dog Double Dog, which are both like 10-11% IPAs, which is just like outrageous to think about now. My stomach's churning just talking about it. But then I really got into saisons, and I worked at Starbucks for like 4 years. So I'm also just really big on like stouts and coffee stouts. So I mean, if there's one thing that gets me going, like it's a real dry beer, like real super high dry beer, and then a good stout. I mean, Old Rasputin was the old standby back in the day.
Yeah.
I'll make a fun term for it, and I'll let you know what it is the next time we chat. But there's this thing I do, like if I have a beer that is like Epic's Big Bad Baptista, it's one of their Big Bad Baptist variants that has like cacao nib and vanilla and caramel and all these things in it. So I just get it and just want to live in it, smell it.
Yeah.
I'm not even drinking the beer really. I'm just having it as a little nose holder for myself, so I can just smell it, all those beautiful flavors, and let it warm up and take a little sip. And it's akin to like when someone has a meal that they're just savoring every bite. They don't want to just eat it all quick and it'll be done in 10 seconds. Like, no, I want to live in this experience. I want to remember this.
Yeah.
So saisons and stouts really did that for me. So yeah, that's anytime someone brings up the B word, the Brute word, I am, well, where is it? Let me get one, you know?
Yeah.
But we are doing some Princess Bride's beer here at Beer Labs. We do really, really lean into the, I don't want to say nerd to sound like a bad word because I'm a nerd myself.
Oh, so am I, yeah.
But the nerd culture is high here. We have a Star Wars celebration every May, so for May the 4th. We have a Schwartz beer that we make.
That one's great. I've had it.
We just retooled it too, so I'll give you a new taste of what it tastes like now.
Okay, I'm in.
But yeah, so we make our Schwartz beer, which is more the Spaceballs reference. May the Schwartz be with you.
Oh,
And then my other beer, which I'll give you a sample of soon, I made and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, with a root beer.
Okay.
The Franconian root beer we made, it's essentially just a red lager, but I'm naming that after, did you ever play Elden Ring, the video game?
I like a few times, not very often, but I remember like seeing it all the time.
So there is an ailment that you can get if you stand in the poison too long. It's called scarlet rot.
Okay.
And that's what I ended up calling this beer, the Scarlet Root Beer.
Okay.
Just in like I said, in reference to the queen of the Scarlet Rot.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fun. I've loved coming in here, and even though I don't really care to work a late day sometimes, but if you work a late day, you'll see people come in outfits for Dungeons and Dragons night.
Oh yeah.
Pinball tournaments, all this stuff, and it's always entertaining to pop over and see someone with like horns on their head, or like a full body makeup or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I always loved that. It's one of the wild ales that you guys do. It's the red one. The other Princess Bride one. That comes in the big bomber bottle.
Fruit Squad.
That was Brute Squad. Was the brewed IPA, but they did like two different wild ales.
So they do a variation of it called Fruit Squad.
Oh, okay, maybe it was.
And then I'm not sure of the other one. As of right now, I mean, we are getting some wild stuff, which is some of my first time dealing with it, but we are making a Brettanomyces Saison.
Okay.
Which I haven't seen in like years. So I'm excited for that. And then what else are we making? I mean, as far as just sours go, we did have one that was barrel aged for a couple of years. Muy Piche is still in bottles. We still have a couple available.
Okay.
And then just the kettle sour that we would make probably every other month or so. So that one's called Brosé.
Nice.
And just kind of like what everyone's been doing, just making a nice pale kind of a beer with a little wheat in it, and then chucking in some Cerevisier to get to that quick kettle sour without having to actually reboil it, which makes life way easier.
Yeah.
You don't get the chance to infect things, and it just makes, I guess, cuts everything down to one more day. I mean, sometimes depending on what you're using as your starter to get the bacteria going, it might take you 2 days. So makes life a little more, I don't know, stressful. Stress less.
Okay. Oh, you were talking like being like a nerd, because I totally am. Like, what kind of video games would you play?
Oh man, so I love the old Dark Souls games.
Okay.
So I'll still play like Dark Souls 1 for like the 5th, 6th, 7th time.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 3. I guess more current games. I'm really into playing like Rocket League. I'll play a lot of the new game that just came out, Marvel Rivals. I don't know if you're a comic book guy.
Oh, no, I love comics, but I don't think I've played that game now.
Did you ever play Overwatch?
No, I've never played Overwatch.
So it's pretty much just, there's really no big anything other than just like, it's just 6 people over 6 people, and you play each other. But you get to be as your favorite superheroes or villains, which makes it kind of fun. So, I could be as Loki, I could be Venom, I could be I could be Spider-Man, I could be Magneto, like pick whatever you want. And they kind of, they kind of do like, oh, here's the outfit from that movie, so they could try to make some money from all the movie stuff and things like that. Like Deadpool and Wolverine outfits, blah, blah, blah.
That's cool.
So I kind of go a little bit everywhere, and then people play their shooters like Call of Duty and Fortnite, stuff like that. I'll jump in that one. I'm feeling a little froggy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, like usually what I would do is like I love like the Uncharted games. Those are some of my favorites. Like Uncharted 4, forever, Ocarina of Time was my favorite game.
Great game.
But then after the entire Uncharted series was great, but 4 to me was like the best out of all of them, because I mean the mechanics and everything, the storyline. I was like so immersed within that whole thing. I don't know how many times I played that game, but
there was always a scene in those games that you'd be like on a boat, and all of a sudden the whole camera would just pan back to a huge widescreen.
Oh yeah,
and all of a sudden you see the huge ocean and the wave about to engulf the whole boat. Every game had a scene like that, and that was so captivating. Every single time. That and God of War, every time walking up to a new temple, it's just like, you just see the big, huge, like, just everything. You're just a tiny speck of a little thing walking into that.
Visually, that game was just like, it was so beautifully like done. I mean, that game, like you mentioned, God of War, The Last of Us 2. I know some people don't like The Last of Us 2. I loved it.
I liked it.
Yeah, so did I. I thought it was the way they did that story arc between Abby and Ellie was just insane. Yeah. Like how it all came together. And even when they did the show, I was like, it's like when they come out with season 2, I know I'm gonna cry.
I was so happy they really didn't change much.
Yeah,
like at all, honestly. And even some of the people have their problems with certain characters in the movie. Yeah, that's how they were in the game. They weren't just blatantly like whatever. Like, no, dude, like they stayed so true to the material, to the material.
Yeah.
And I love it, absolutely love it, because we never get that as video gamers and people that enjoy this kind of stuff. Hollywood takes liberties with everything, and you could pick whatever franchise you want, Resident Evil if you wish, and then all of a sudden you get what you got for the last 15 years.
And they made 12 movies, I feel like, of Resident Evil.
I've seen 2 and I gave up. I'll stick to the games. I'm fine.
Oh, for sure. And even the little things that they did change in from the game to the show, it only further enhanced the story. It wasn't it was a completely blatant thing, like you said, like Hollywood does sometimes, but it was, they stayed true to the source material.
100%, man.
Oh yeah. I could talk video games all day. I think when I recorded with the Dov, a long time ago, we did 2 episodes together. The first one we talked beer for most of it and talked a little Star Wars, but then the second time it was a 3-hour episode. It was just Star Wars for the most part.
and I could do that too. I mean,
yeah, it's crazy.
I just like a lot of things, I tend to obsess after I watch a movie, because there's no subtitles usually when I see them in theaters.
Yeah.
I like to just go and see the deeper meaning behind it, stuff I would have missed. Sometimes, I'm a big fan of subtitles in movies because I can't focus on what's happening around if I'm trying to get through the music, get through the cars and traffic, people talking to the theater, and then hear what this guy's saying on the screen.
Yeah. I
miss so much. And then I can't tell you how many times I came out of a movie and was so why didn't they explain this better?
Yeah.
I was so lost for 20 minutes until that. And someone will always tell me no, they said that.
Yeah.
You just didn't hear it.
Oh, it happens. I mean, but it's tough, especially when you're at the theaters. That's why I have this huge TV in my room. So that's a lot of times, unless it's a movie I really, really want to see, I'll go to the theater. But if not, I'll just wait and then I'll watch it at home. Because then I can know, other than my dog maybe snoring, I'd be able to enjoy the movie and not have to worry about other people making noise.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, I'm surrounded by a bunch of movie buffs.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I'm always just getting you should have seen it in theater. You should have been there to watch it. It's a different experience. And I mean, I'll be honest, there's a couple I've seen lately that have kind of done that for me. I did see this really weird movie. Check this one out if you haven't seen it.
Okay.
The Substance with Demi Moore.
Oh, no, I don't think I've seen it.
It's it's pretty much the story. It's kind of like a Black Mirror episode, if you've ever watched Black Mirror.
Yeah.
It's a way to cut your personality in half. So you could have a younger, better, sexier you, and they can go live a life that you're still in tune with in your brain.
Okay.
But you're asleep for those 7 days that they're awake. And then they come back and you're back in your old body for 7 days. Oh, wow. So it's a weird, sci-fi trippy movie of just
that sounds interesting.
What's going to happen with this whole character, and at the end, they always keep telling you, you're all the same person. You are the same person.
Yeah.
And you're just, then one's mad that the other one's not doing what you want.
Yeah.
They're taking advantage of me and blah, blah. And then it turns into a whole, I don't want to kill anything for it. You should watch it and let me know what you think.
No, I'll definitely check it out.
The last act is epic.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
In.
And then when next time we chat, I want you to let me know what 2 movies did you put together when you saw it and you're this is totally this and this.
Okay.
Put together in one thing.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple that pop in my head, and if I tell you what it is, it'll probably just blow the surprise for you.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll probably rent it on. Oh, because I always Mondays. I don't do anything. I might edit a little bit, but I just chill. So Mondays are my day to just I'm gonna find a new movie I haven't seen on Prime or wherever, and watch it. And make myself a nice dinner. So
yeah, you can get it on Prime, and that's what I ended up doing. And if you join, they always start a subscription for a month, and you get it for free. So they give you a month of forget which movie platform it is on Prime within it, but it's if you sign it up, you can get it for free.
MGM or whatever they have.
One of those, Mubi or something. So if you want to do that and save some cash, you could just sign into it, do that, and then bam.
I'm always up for that.
Save some money, bro.
Oh yeah. Yeah. One of the things. I know we I got a little sidetracked there, but I love doing that, by the way. I go off on tangents all the time, and I love doing that stuff.
That's what you got the notes for, to come back to.
Oh yeah, no, but honestly, I don't like to edit that stuff. I like to leave it all in because I like to get to know the person at a more personal level as well. Obviously the beer and everything that's important, but I mean knowing the person is what this is all about.
That's what created the beer.
Oh yeah, you know it. What are some of you feel the biggest challenges you faced as a brewer in your journey?
I think the hardest part, and I mentioned it being a labor of love before, motivation.
Yeah.
And just, the money part of it's always been kind of a point for me. I was told from my first days of working in the back, I'm sorry, we can't pay you all that much.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
And just kind of being told that, but still coming into work and being happy to do what I do.
Yeah.
I make music as like, when I first started, doing any kind of thing really, and music and creating something from scratch, just like beer, is kind of like what I've just really liked. I like seeing that I can make something with my hands and audibly have them listen to it and be like, wow, I like to listen to that. That made me happy for a couple of minutes. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, you like that? Like, cool. And then coming here, beer is something that brings people together. It could be good or bad, but like, I love the togetherness that I see when I have people come in the tap room and have lunch together, come to meet for their after softball meetup or what have you, and just, good times.
Yeah.
I truthfully love the social aspect of it.
Oh, yeah.
But that being said, I could almost say the last 10 years I've had to work an extra job while doing this because just, it doesn't always pay the bills proper.
Yeah.
And then as far as like dry January goes, hours do go down a bit too because, not as many people are buying it unless you're on a big production program or, you have someone buying your stuff consistently. You're probably not going to see a lot of sales during the November, December, January months.
Yeah.
It's just kind of what happens. That would probably say is my biggest struggle with it because every job you have, you're going to have coworkers that aren't going to want to do the job or, a boss that's, kind of a big jerk that you don't want to listen to or just constantly bugging you for stuff. Thankfully, I haven't had too much of that. You do have like I said, the owners are always going to be the owners and sometimes forget that you got 10 things going on and ask for another thing to go or, forget you told them something or what have you. But they're running a business, they got, of course, bills and checks to sign and, things they're training people on and just a business in general they're taking care of. So I don't fault them for not having the time of, every single day to talk to me and answer my questions. That being said, though, talking to Brian over at Hop Saint, he always had the time to just like, okay, let's break it down for you and let's make sure you understand this before you walk away kind of a deal. Yeah, that would kind of be what I would say is my biggest struggles with this working in this industry is just really the money and just trying to find a way to stay motivated with that because at the end of the day, I feel like they always kind of go hand in hand.
Oh,
they say money can't buy happiness, but it sure makes my life a hell of a lot easier. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, definitely. Because you need it to survive, man.
100%. But I love this industry.
Of course,
I really do. I feel like this is one of the. It's such an interesting job.
Yeah.
I compare it to when I worked at Starbucks and I needed I need coffee beans. Well, just talk to the store down the street and they'll ship you some. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, everyone in this industry is so together.
Oh, yeah.
And you can credit the brewers, LA Brewers Guild and stuff too for, helping facilitate that a little. But we really just help each other out. If I need yeast, if I need hops, I can call 5 people and find it.
Yep.
And if they don't have it, they'll find someone for me. Like, some of my closest friends the last 10 years have come from this industry.
That's great.
And shoot, man, like I don't know if you've, I'll shoot you the invite if you wish to come with us too, but every Saturday and Sunday, the Brewers League that we have for disc golfers.
Disc golf? Well, yeah, I've heard all about it. I've heard like it's great.
Yeah. We have a good group of people that come play with us. Herbie from Lucky Luke is pretty much the main head of it. He kind of organizes it and bless his soul because it's not easy to want to plan a month schedule for everybody.
Yeah.
Get all of the events set up on the app and stuff for everyone. And because of Herbie really, really handling biz, we have a good group of 15, 20, sometimes, 30 people that'll come out and play with us.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is you have your peers there to, I don't want to say judge, but you have your beers and you're like, hey, I tried this one and I use this hop or I tried this technique. And the feedback you get, the camaraderie that's built between everyone is beautiful.
Oh,
to be able to just hey, you know what? Next time I try this.
Yeah.
Oh, you did this? You know what? Adjust your numbers of that. I think you'll like it better.
Yeah.
So many questions get asked and answered. And, I feel like just in general, besides just hanging out with your bros and having a good time, we all get to kind of learn a little bit. And that's something that I've taken from day one. We have, Logan from El Segundo and Herbie from Lucky Luke, I said before, and just a handful of Ian from Ism. Everyone will kind of come out and just shoot the shit, if you will.
Oh, yeah. I'm so in. Yeah. I'm down.
Yeah, come on by. We'll have some fun. If you don't got no discs, we'll take care of you.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I do have a pack because me and my brother just wanted, it was during COVID, we were just bored. So we bought those and we were just chucking them in the backyard. But yeah, no, I've always wanted to play. So I'm totally in.
You're in. Let's do it. I'll add you to the Slack. We'll have some fun.
I'm so down. I know we talked about that beer name earlier that you came up with, the Scarlet one. Are there any other like fun names that maybe that you've come up with, like, for either here or other breweries?
I'm a nerd and a metalhead at heart, so
okay.
Most of my names that I try to come up with usually reference some sort of like lyrics or a song name that I've enjoyed. My first India Pale Lager I made here, I ended up calling White Jeans. And it's funny because there's a band I'm going to try to put you onto as well called Night Flight Orchestra.
Okay.
And they are comprised of a couple of metalheads, like current metalheads and metal bands now, that decided to make an 80s synth pop band.
Ooh, okay.
So think of like whatever you listen to, like a montage. If you're watching a movie in the 80s, it's pretty much that. And the music does nothing other than just really motivate you to get your butt up and start moving.
Okay.
And it's cheesy as hell. You would listen to it and think this was made by the Scorpions or something.
Okay.
And it's so good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And what's it called?
White Jeans is the name of the song, but Night Flight Orchestra is the band. Okay.
I'm going to put that into my Spotify so I can remember.
And when you look at the White Jeans video, it's pretty much just showing like a boring old dude that's just sitting in his living room with his dog. And as soon as he puts this record on that makes him think of the old days, all of a sudden, like, those white jeans come out, and he's just wearing, like, tight white jeans.
Okay.
And, like, doing a whole, like, Vogue montage and dancing around.
I found him.
Yeah, they're great. And they start just dressing him up in, like, like a whole, like, outfit. They give him, like, the makeup and stuff. He's just, like shake dancing. I don't know how to explain it.
No, that's awesome.
Absolutely hilarious.
I mean, because I love, like, obviously, like, 80s movies and, like 80s hair metal and all that sort of stuff. So I'm in.
Yeah. Try to listen to them. You'll get a kick out of them. And then I swear on it, like when you're listening to it, you're going to have people asking you what 80s band you're listening to. Because it sounds that convincing. It's so good.
Wow. Yeah, I'm 1,000% in.
And then other than that, I mentioned the working at Hop Sane when we were making the Mexican lager. I really just wanted to lean into, everyone calls them crispy boys. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, Mexican lager. We should just call it, crispy boy, but in Spanish.
Yeah.
So my goal was like, you got to call it Niño Crujiente, which is like a bastardized way of saying it, I guess. But it's like that's just the crispy boy right there.
Yeah.
But it's not easy to have everyone around say Crujiente all the time. So
gotcha.
Olas was the name for that one, which means the waves in Spanish for people that don't speak Spanish.
Okay.
So it worked out better, easier 4-letter word that everyone could just, I can say that.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool though, man. I mean, I always find because sometimes it's so hard to like think of names or stuff like that. And I know people are like sometimes just like racking their brains, like, what's this one going to be called? But I mean, it's always cool when you can throw like something that you love, like something you love, like a spin on a beer like that.
I mean, I'm a fan of puns. So
yeah, if
you have a good, or by good I mean terrible pun for a name of a name of anything, count me in. I'm all for it.
Yeah, the beer that we're doing, the collab beer, it's called Brutes of Our Labor. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. My brother came up with that one. I was like, score. I was like, we needed something good.
Give him a high five for me, please.
Oh, I will, for sure. I mean, obviously, like, you're working here, like, what are some other, do you live in the area, or do you, like, are there any, like, maybe other breweries that you like to go to?
So,
like when you're off?
I did live in Westchester over by LAX for the last 8 years or so.
Okay.
And just moved back to my home area of the Valley.
Okay.
So it is a bit of a drive over here, but
yeah,
I'd like to drive in the mornings when there's no traffic, so I could get here pretty quick.
Okay.
As far as local breweries that I like to go to, I mean, I could name all the ones that everyone likes, Ism, Rip, and
or even local to you where you live.
Yeah. Where I'm at now, I will still frequent McLeod's every now and then, try some pizza and have their bitter. I love their bitter. I haven't gone in a minute, but I grew up in San Fernando too, so I do like to go to Shadow Grove.
Okay,
that's actually
I love Tyler. She's so awesome.
Yeah, cool people there. And I mean, that's where I grew up too. I grew up Main Street they're on is Maclay. Mm-hmm. I grew up on Maclay and Fifth, so like a few streets just down is where my grandma lived.
Oh, nice.
So spent a lot of my years walking up and down that street.
That's cool.
And then, I mean, not local. I mean, like I said, everyone loves to go to like Highland Parks and stuff. I love going to Highland Park.
Yeah.
Arts District's another fun one too, because where Arts District is, you can kind of just go to First Kush. You can go to Bar 82. You can go to the whiskey bars anywhere around there. That whole area is just really, really fun to just get dropped off and just like a kid in a Chuck E. Cheese or a candy store. Just, okay, I could be here for a couple hours and I'll be all right.
Yeah.
And then I just went to Enegrin yesterday and Tarantula Hill. And Tarantula Hill is kind of like the same thing, or it's like, but it's all just in one building where it's like, oh, they have pizza, they have ice cream, they have whiskey, and they have big TVs.
Yeah.
Man, I'm watching football here today.
Oh, yeah. For sure. I love Tarantula Hill. I haven't been in a long time, but I used to know Curtis at work. They used to work over there. Great beer. Yeah, great pizza. The ice cream, too. It's like, everything was awesome.
Absolutely. And then Enegrin, I mean, I think they're the king of lagers in California, man.
Yeah.
They're doing what I want to do. I want to be able to be that guy that makes the best lagers in town. So, like I mentioned earlier, that's my goal right now, and doing what I'm doing here is I want this to be the next lager destination point. There's one in Moore Park. And obviously, we got Bierstadt in Denver, and there's a couple of big wigs out here. Fig Mountain makes great lagers, and a few others here and there. But I don't see anyone really trying to like make lagers a big thing.
Yeah,
which I feel like doesn't make sense because I mean they're not. That doesn't cost a lot to make them compared to the thousands of dollars it costs to buy hops and stuff for an IPA or get all these ingredients you need. But I mean it's kind of slowly, at least from what I can see from my dumb ignorant little eyeballs, that's what the market seems to be going. More people are liking the less hazy beers, which are, still big and popular. They ain't going nowhere, but I see more people gravitating towards Pilsners and lagers now. And it kind of started with these cold IPAs, West Coast Pilsners. People are like, oh, I still want that big, hoppy, delicious bite, but I only want it to be about 5%.
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, we talked 90-minute IPA from Dogfish Head before. I remember trying the 60-minute when I was younger and just, I hate this. This tastes like the weak version of this. Like, why would I want that? Which has always kind of deterred me from making more pale ales in a sense. But I mean, now that it's gone the way it is, it's better. I mean, we have Incognitos and Dyna Boosts and all these things now that we're tossing in these beers. So if you want that big hoppiness, well, it doesn't just taste like a watered down beer. It tastes big.
Exactly.
And it's not, which is crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping that it kind of shifts towards, still going. Let's really embrace these beers. Let's please embrace them. And if not, then fine. I'm still happy with trying to do my thing over here and just keep this lager program. I'll use that in quotes until it becomes an official thing.
Yeah.
But just try to keep that rocking because I mean, this is what I like. This is what I love. It's fun.
Yeah. It's great. I mean, and like you say, like I feel like it is trending. Like it is trending up. Like when it comes to like lagers and pilsners are coming back. And I love a good West Coast Pils. Mm-hmm. Like if you have something like give me something that's going to punch me in the face, but then still go down crisp and clean and easy and it's not lingering on the palate too much. I love that. They're so good.
The sea hops are coming back, man.
Yeah.
I mean, for a while, like I never touched Columbus or any of these other like big, ridiculous hops, but that's what's happening now.
Yeah.
People want some of them big, stanky flavors in their face, man, and give people what they want, I suppose.
Yep.
It's nice to see Centennial and Citra and all these other ones just kind of make their big, I don't want to say return. They've always been there.
Yeah.
But I started using some Cryo Citra from Yakima Chief just last couple of months. And me and Ty, the brewery, have just been so like blown away by how expressive it is. It is nice.
Okay.
Just getting these big, juicy, like orange. I mean, of course, it's going to be orange because of Citra, but orange / like almost like a little mix of a fruit salad in there too. It just has these extra fruity qualities that just weren't in the regular, kind of like grapefruit pith, kind of like Citra that I'd normally have gotten, depending on where you get it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of become one of the newest ones I throw in, a lot of beers right now.
Awesome.
Which are kind of fun.
That's cool, man. It all sounds good to me.
Well, again, like the technique we're saying, like the fellas are taking care of the product really, really well. And so, I mean, again, if you have good selected hops like we do and your technique is solid, there's no reason why this beer can't taste great.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think, I mean, I'm sure it has, because I mean, we're always ever evolving, but like your approach to brewing has changed through the years?
I'd say more of my cellar work has changed over the years.
Okay.
Because I started at Three Weavers, so big production. So learning how to turn a tank fast and thankfully having something like a C-Box to check my O2 levels and carbonation levels and stuff. Learning how to work that quick, but know that I'm not imparting oxygen or messing anything up and purging properly and what have you. So being able to do that was one thing. And then going to pub life, working at State and Hop Saint, it got me to slow down quite a bit and because it's a pub, I'm only brewing once or twice a week, ain't
Yeah.
much happening. So I could actually take time with like, okay, let me scrub these doors proper. Let me pull this out a little bit more. Let me look at this a certain way. And that got me to slow down quite a bit. And then kind of coming back here, beer labs, where there's a little bit more of a production push, just kind of putting them two together.
Okay.
So teaching the fellas how to be quick, but like, we could pay attention to all these things. But we're not, Sierra Nevada or any of these other things.
Yeah.
There's no reason like we have to put ourselves with this crazy timeline or what have you. And this is what's attributed to my burnout, personally, was just like, well, we have all these things in a contract and a blah, blah, blah. So you better get it done today. Otherwise, you're just here till it's done. And that's, again, that's just leads to burnout, leads to resentment. And that's just not what I want.
No, yeah. No, it happens. And like, stuff like that, like you mentioned earlier, you don't want to burn yourself out. You want to continue to you don't it's a job, of course, but you don't ever want it to feel like a job, especially when you're doing something you love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%. As far as anything changing on the brew side, because of IPAs doing what they do and have gotten so I'll just use gnarly as a term, I guess.
Yeah.
But it definitely has had me change how I will do certain techniques, when I'll add a certain ingredient. Because for me, I've been on the hot side of things brewing for like the last 5 years or so. And in my head, I guess I'm still just like that little brewer that's still learning that I don't want to mess anything up and break something. So I'm just going to keep doing it the same. But slowly just like learning like, hey, look, like cold whirlpooling.
Yeah.
I've never been one to do that because the old school brewers will tell you, well, you don't want your work to get that cold, otherwise you're going to start developing bacteria and But you extract different levels of your oils and stuff when you're whirlpooling for at 100 or 190 or 200 versus like 170 to 180. You're going to have more expression in certain types of hops depending on when you add these as well and what temperatures you're throwing them in. And so working in collabs with some of these bigger guys that like win these big awards that we all covet, just learning like, okay, well, you're obviously not having a problem with, chilling the word down a bit. Like me just being extra anxious, maybe I can tone that down a little bit and let's try something new, which in turn too, like we're using cold water to chill our work down too. So if it's at, 170 or 160, it's a lot easier to chill down compared to 200 or 190. So makes the brewer's job a little bit easier because he's not sitting there for so long. Yeah. And last couple of beers we've done doing some of the cold whirlpool, so it seems to be really, really helping. So I'm all for it. And again, I try not to be a stick in the mud or like, well, we got to stick to my way or the highway or anything like that. I'm just scared that the quality could take a dip if I change something too drastic. So, most like anything, I'm not going to try to change 5 things at once. Yeah. Let's change one. See how we like it. Okay, let's keep that. Let's change another thing. Let's sprinkle this in next time. Because if you're changing everything or throwing the whole kitchen sink at it, I don't know what's going to make it better or worse, or if it tastes any different. Like I need to be able to just control what we're doing on this aspect of it, and I don't want to just like, well, let's change all of it then. Yeah. Then we're in the same position we were when we first made this beer. It's not going to go nowhere. Yeah.
That's cool though, man. It's cool, like, adapting, new methods. And like I said, it's an ever evolving industry. I feel like, even though like there's not always like new styles coming out, all the time, but they're still finding, people are still finding new ways to do, to do the same thing that's been happening for how many thousands of years.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Do you remember your worst brew day?
I've had bad brew days and just bad packaging days. Slash like any of that on that end too. Brew side, I guess some of the worst times have just been when your equipment fails you.
Okay.
So one of my first shifts here, the drains were clogged. The glycol wasn't really working proper.
Yeah.
And just like the grant wasn't working or one of the sensors was off. So it's just like every step of the way was just like something just like stopping you. Yeah. Making it worse. So, had some of those days where you're, okay, well, looks like I'm knocking out with city water and this is going to be a very long time because we're talking 70 degrees of city water, 80 degrees versus like 40 or 36 degree cold lick. So it's like, this ain't going to cool down anytime soon. So I'm going to be here a while.
Oh, man.
And then I've had a day where somebody cut me off when I was working at Hop Saint. We'd have to transport all the cans to the cold box. Yeah. So the cold box is actually right by Smog City. Yeah. So that's about a 2-3 mile drive. I had a pallet top of cans right behind me, and somebody cut me off
Oh,
after
no.
it was already like a 10-hour, 11-hour day.
Jeez.
Because again, things just didn't go right. Packaging took a little longer. We had to do more things to fit. You know what I'm saying? One of those days, and someone cut me off to do an illegal turn, and it's like I'm just going like following like a decent speed, but this guy just came to a stop
Jeez.
in the middle of the road just to try to get in the middle lane, which wasn't even a lane, and just
Wow.
caused me to like hit the brake super hard, and all of my beer flew forward,
No, man.
and the cans filled up the front cabin with me, and to the point where they were underneath the gas and brake pedal,
Jeez.
and I almost couldn't stop.
Wow.
And it was just one of those days where you call and say, hey, this happened and I'm okay, but da-da-da. All right, well, just get it done. I'm like, okay, can anyone help? No, not really. I'm like, all right, well, this is now a 13-hour day.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. So one of those days where you're just kind of like fighting back, crying, screaming.
Yeah.
Because that's all I wanted to do in that moment is just say, fuck this and just leave, you know.
Yeah.
But like I said, just got to clean it up, suck it up, and just keep moving. You know?
Yeah.
Got to keep rocking with it. And I think that was what drove me nuts too. Is we'd just gotten the bronze for this beer,
Yeah.
which was like an imperial brown, and it was like, oh man, this is the first time we're canning it, and the first time I'm finally getting it packaged and moved over here, and it's like half of it's on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Pain in the butt.
That sucks, man.
So just days like that, you know, where stuff like that happens. You know, it could have been wrapped as best as it could. It still would have happened.
Yeah.
Whatever. But they make you stronger, I guess. You know.
Yep. We all have those days where we're just like, fuck. So it happens. You know, you've been in the industry for what, over 10 years or now, like, are there like any fun, interesting, like kind of taproom stories from like anywhere you've been? Or just funny stories within the industry, I guess.
So taproom wise, I mean, for the most part, it's been pretty mellow. I mean, we have, you know, people that try to start fights or what have you, but on the positive side, man, like, I mean, one of my favorite memories is over at Three Weavers back in the day. They had a sumo wrestling competition.
Oh shit, that's cool.
So we had, and it wasn't sumo wrestlers; it was brewers.
Okay,
so we had brewers put on big old sumo suits and just like smack each other around a ring for a bit.
That's awesome.
So everyone, I mean, you know how it goes. Everyone having a couple of beers and just getting sweaty in these things. It was ridiculous.
That's
absolutely
cool.
ridiculous. One thing that I'm going to try to do again at some point, I call it the pallet challenge.
Okay.
And pretty much what it is you get a full pallet of grain and you just have somebody charge at it like full run and try to jump and plank on top of it.
That sounds pretty funny.
It's not, you can't even do it. But watching people try is the funniest thing. So I've actually been wanting to get people to jump on that like trend. I'll use that with quotes. But I want to start the pallet challenge trend again with my friends. So it's like, hey, I'm so-and-so at, you know, Beer Labs. I'm going to do the pallet challenge. And I challenge Whittier Brewing Company or whichever one you choose. And just like, cool. And just like jump and flop on a pallet of grain. So we have a bunch of old slow motion videos I got to try to find. But me and a couple buddies were just, you know, bored in the cellar one day. Like, all right, let's try this.
That's awesome. Love that. That'd be really funny. If you decide to do it, you got to let me come down.
Yeah. We'll try to get everyone to jump on it. I mean, it's such an easy, silly little innocent thing.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
But, you know, I mean, more often than not, like I said, my taproom stories are pretty mellow. I only had to work the taproom itself for like 4 to 5 months. Or so before I got pushed into the back.
Nice.
You meet cool people though. I love the ability to chat with one another. And I mean, I tell the staff here, as much as people want to look at me or Levy or anyone and say like, oh, you're the face of the company. They're the ones that people see first. Yep. They're the ones that they chat with them the most. And I truly believe that they are one of the biggest, you know, keys to keeping people coming back in.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
They have to be trained and happy as well. I mean, again, we talked about just wanting to be at a place. Like, you don't want to come into a job that you're just resentful for.
Yeah.
And so same with them too, even with the brew staff in the back. I try to just like, hey, we did this to this beer. We tried this one out. What do you think about this one?
Yeah.
And the feedback's been great.
That's awesome.
More often than not, I mean, they're grateful that someone's just taking the time to try stuff with them and explain why a certain thing is a certain thing. I'm trying to get, you know, little brew cards and stuff set for them so they have notes for everything. Because, I mean, in my experience, I don't know if you've ever done sales, but I mean, if you can't explain it, I'm not going to buy it off of you.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? It's a beer. What about it? I don't know. It's pale.
But craft beer education is important. because if you build that trust with the brewery, like you'll remember like, oh yeah, they told me about this, that I should try this one and it was really good. So then eventually they keep coming back.
Yeah. And if you're the bartender that brought him into like, hey, I don't like dark beer. And one of my biggest things that I hate people use is like light beer as a descriptor.
Yeah.
Light beer means nothing.
Yeah.
It means nothing but everything at the same time.
Yeah.
So my first question after that is, well, light in what?
Yeah.
Light in body?
Yeah.
Light in color?
Yeah.
Light in complexity?
Yeah.
What do you want? Light doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
That Schwartz beer is a light beer, technically.
Yeah.
And so one of my favorite things, like, back in the day, I'd give them a porter, which was like 5%. Oh, whoa, I can't drink that. That's big and heavy.
It's
I'm like,
dark. Yeah.
No. It's 5%.
Yeah.
It tastes like, earthy, it's chocolatey and
Yeah.
a little bit of a little floral note from the hops or something or what have you. And almost every single time, whoa, I could drink that.
Yeah.
I drink coffee all the time. Wow, this is great.
Yeah.
Or, your typical, macho dude coming in trying to get a beer for his girlfriend. I need a girly beer. What kind of girly beers you got?
Yeah.
Well, working at Weaver's, the owners and workers back here are all women, so they drink double IPAs.
Yeah.
Which, funny enough, I think if you could drink wine or any of these other big boozy cocktails, I pass them double IPAs all the time.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks, oh, they're not going to drink that.
Yeah.
They drink margaritas. They drink wine, all these things that have all these big, fruity, gnarly flavors in them. They could handle a 7.5%, 8% IPA. They're fine.
Yeah.
Trust me. And being that person that introduces someone to something like that, like they're going to come back every single time. Like, hey, Jared gave me that beer last time. And he told me this taste, and it tasted like that.
Yeah.
I didn't think beer could do that. And that's because beer don't have as many rules as wine. Beer is its own thing. I want to spin a wheel and pick an ingredient. It'll still be called a beer. Yeah. It's not going to detract from it and call it something else now.
Of course.
And, that connection in the tap room is important, man. I feel like, again, if you aren't able to connect people like that with the people in front, you don't have a business.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. Before we finish up, there's two questions I would love to ask anybody. What would be your desert island beers? Like, so you can pick a craft and a domestic.
Ooh. Oh, man. I feel like so my craft would probably be, man, this is a tough one. Domestic would probably be like a Coors Banquet or a Miller High Life. Just because it's something I know I could always throw back and it's going to taste good.
Yeah.
Probably a High Life just because it's one of the brewer's beers. I mean, I'll take that.
Yeah. Craft
beer wise, this is where I'm stuck in between, where I was saying I would love to have just a nice coffee stout or a coffee porter. It would probably be Smog City's coffee porter.
Okay.
Just so I can have that like feeling of light and coffee throughout the day and just kind of go back and forth. Again, I love my hoppy beers, but I only want one at a time. I'm usually like good with one and then maybe a sip of another. I'm fine. Sours, I can only drink like 3 ounces, if that, and then I need a Tums. It's a stomachache waiting to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
What about you? What would your beers be?
Mine was Banquet for a long time, but it's hams probably.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, I love good hams. Craft is tough because there's so many, but like I used to love like maybe like probably Western Standard Time.
Okay.
From ISM was one of my that's probably one of my go-tos. Like that's just one of the first ones that popped in my head. But Breakwall maybe from Burning Daylight.
Good one.
Yeah, so many. I don't know. There's so many good ones out there and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. Like I could go hoppy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, what am I going to want to sip a lot of? I mean, shoot, one of my first growlers I got when growlers were cool.
Yeah.
When I was at Three Weavers, I ended up taking home a full thing of 7% coffee stout.
Oh, there you go.
Drank the whole thing to myself.
Nice.
I love it, bro.
That's awesome.
It's good. I mean, it's not easy to impart that coffee onto a beer and make it like super duper wantable, man. Mm-hmm. Like it's super acidic and it could be roasty or bitter or all these things. And to be able to accomplish it, it's nice.
That's awesome. That's cool, man. And last one, favorite food to pair with beer. And I love the pizza here, by the way. The pizza here, like the sourdough pizza, if you guys like come down, have some beer, have like their pizza's phenomenal.
Yeah, we've got a good crew here making all that happen too. I mean, Harmony and Levy had a vision for beer and pizza here, and I mean, Harmony is an amazing baker. She's got some awesome hands, man, that make some great product.
Yeah,
and then on our side of things, just trying to match that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gnarly. I'm sorry. Repeat the question again.
Oh, your favorite food to pair with
food
the
to
beer.
pair. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Honestly, pizza's always a good one. And it probably doesn't even pair all that great. but just tacos, man.
Oh, tacos are great, dude. Tacos out of like a Pilsner or like a Mexican lager. Oh, yeah. So good.
Yeah. And I mean, when I was working at Hop Saint to consistently get like a pale ale. So the pure intention was the pale ale at Hop Saint. Get that with anything barbecued, man.
Yeah.
It's a good fun combo too. Just anything spicy or like just big and savory.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of grabbing like something like a little more approachable, like a pale ale. An IPA works fine too, but
yeah.
If I'm eating heavy food, I don't want a heavy beer.
Oh, for sure.
I'd like something a little lighter to complement it with.
Yeah. What's like on your tacos? What's your go-to protein?
This is where I'll lose people. Lengua.
Okay. I mean,
I
ate it as a kid, but I don't really care for it now. But as a kid, my great grandma would make like empanadas with lengua.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a spot that we'd come out of our dive bar that we'd go to all the time in the valley. And every single time we'd go there, me and my buddy, green salsa and lengua tacos.
Okay.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I like the weird meats, man. Asada is great, but I think it's just overdone. Mm-hmm. And more often than not, this is kind of like the whole lager and glazed donut thing we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
If your asada's terrible, I probably don't want your rest of your stuff.
Yeah.
I love getting pastor, but the problem with it is if it's not done like proper and cooked on the coals.
Yeah.
Then it's just done on the stove and it doesn't taste good.
Yeah.
And I could taste, you taste the difference 100%.
Yeah.
Chicken, everyone does chicken. I mean, chicken's fine.
Yeah.
If you have chicken all day, every day in a taco, sure.
Yeah.
Fish tacos, they're fine.
Yeah.
They're whatever. I'm not in Baja. I really don't care.
Yeah.
Like I said, just give me some asada. I'll take tripas. I mean, I'll pretty much eat any of them, really. Even in my menudo, I love menudo. And not everyone loves it because they're not a fan of the honeycomb. Type, so texture doesn't bother me. Mm-hmm. I'll eat that. We go to K Barbecue. We'll eat some intestine together. I guarantee it.
Okay.
Give me all the weird stuff, bro. I've been eating all the boring things in my life. When I was a kid, all I had was like, hamburger helpers and stuff.
Yeah.
And like that as a young one. So it's like, just give me the fun stuff. Let's try the fun stuff these days.
Oh yeah, I love like chorizo is probably my go-to, but I also like chicharron sometimes.
Chicharron's great.
Yeah, al pastor is good. Asada's, I mean, like you said though, like if their asada's good, probably the rest of their meat's probably pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. And I've just had a couple lately that were like, eh.
Yeah.
And I probably had the worst tamales I've ever had.
Oh, really?
Oh man, you get the signs like, oh, this should be okay. The girl doesn't even speak English at the counter. Like, yeah, all right, this will be okay. And I got them. They were the masa was bland, the meat was bland, the salsa was bland. Even the salsa they gave you to top it did nothing. It was like a big spongy mess.
Jeez.
And I mean, I know there's like, you can make them with a banana leaf if you're from, Guatemala or something, and it gives them all that moisture. Oh, man, I love my dry ass Mexican tamales.
Okay.
I love them. I love them dry, and I love to smother them with salsa and just make them a little juicier.
Oh yeah.
All day, every day.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. The more I always put like the more chile or the spicier the chile, the better. But I also don't like it like spicy just to be spicy. It has to have a good flavor. So anytime I make like my habanero chili or like chile de árbol or whatever, or with guajillo, it has to have a kick, but it has to have like the flavor has to be there because I don't want to just smoke somebody out just because of the just because of the spice.
I don't really care for the really dark brown like roasty salsas.
Okay.
To me, those are the ones that are either too roasty or too hot.
Okay.
And it's very rarely a good combo of the two because even with my beers, I don't really care for these peated malts or any of these like roasted ales or lagers. To me, there's a fine line between making a roasty beer and making a fucking bacon beer.
Yeah.
I don't want bacon or ham in my beverage.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've had a couple, I'll never name people, but I've tried a couple and just had to turn it right back. Like, no, this tastes like liquid Lunchables to me. I just don't want it.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Oh, man. And honestly, Jared, this has been super fun, man. Thank you for letting me come down and get to have this conversation and
of course
have a couple more beers.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome anytime, and
appreciate it.
Let's do this again.
Oh, I'm so down. Everybody come down. So it's off of Willow and Magnolia here in Long Beach. I mean, I know everybody listening like, oh, you've been there before. I know, but being able to hear your journey and hear how you got to where you are now. I know you're only going to do great things, and fingers crossed for the lager program.
Thanks. Hey, so far it's working. I got a couple more in the back. I got the next batch of pills. It's called the Klassisch.
Okay.
So it's pretty much just German for classical or classic.
Love it.
My goal is to kind of just think of like all the old Pilsners, like Pilsner Urquell, even though it's a Czech Pils, not a just German Pils. But what do you think of when you have the old school just Pilsner?
Yeah.
And that's just kind of what I was going for. Nothing really fancy schmancy about it. Mostly just this time It's all Hersbrucker in the Whirlpool. Next time it'll be Tettnanger.
Okay.
And borrowed this idea from Brennan at Tenma over in Sacramento.
Nice.
He did the same thing. He made a killer Pilsner with all one hop, because I don't know if you've messed around with too many noble hops, but they kind of, to me, in my ignorant nose, they kind of just blend together and kind of smell like the same thing after a while. So I've never had too much experience with like trying one.
Yeah.
At Hopsang, we made one with a combination of 3 hops. So it's like, I don't really know what one does. They all just kind of smell floral and woody to me in a sense, you know, which is, again, it's not proper description of them, but being able to do that. And so far so good. The lagers have been tasting great. I mean, Levy's super happy with it. People around, like I said, of industry folk come by and try them. And if you've ever cooked for anyone, you look for that, like, whoa, that moment where their head pulls back and they say, whoa, hey, wait a second. I could drink that.
Yeah.
Brandon came by and did that with the Schwartz, and I was like,
Love
yes, this is that's the look I look for right there. The look of like, ooh, that's
great,
good.
Man. I'm so happy for you, and I know you're only going to do great things.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Well, like I said, thanks for coming down. Everybody come down to Long Beach Beer Lab, have some beer, have some pizza, and if you're unsure about craft beer or anything like that, come down here and find your beer. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, it was a really fun time. Jared's a really good dude. And I'm stoked for, being able to go down there and, have some beers in a couple weeks. So let's see, what do we got coming up? So next week's episode is the Mike Crea, the 2-year anniversary of the show. It'll be episode 104. It's crazy. It's been 2 years already. The week after that will be the Jason Delatorre from Ogopogo, Cody Sherwood, then Bruce Stilled. I am actually going to be recording, is it Petacolas Brewery in Texas when I'm there in a couple of weeks. And then, I might try to squeak in, might see if I can book something this coming week when I'm in Arizona. So we shall see. It's gonna be busy. It's gonna be a good time though. Get busy living, get busy dying, right? All right. So I'm gonna go make that fat, wet burrito right now. And with a little habanero in there, maybe a little ghost pepper cheese, who knows? Depends if I'm feeling froggy. All right. Well, hope you guys have a great week. I'm actually gonna go to Level Up later today. I always say I'm tired, but got to get out there. Just got to get out there and support and Level Up. Luis did just have new cans. I know he's like, he's trying to get some more right now, but Jake did the can artwork for him. Donkey Kong and Haze Invaders. They look so legit. So Jake was able to get some yesterday and bring them over. So they were really good. I tried them yesterday. Really, really bomb. And Luis makes phenomenal beer. Oh, and what was it? Oh yeah. So Luis and I also, speaking of Luis, we are doing collabs together. So we're going to do these little micro episodes, like a little sitcom type thing in the vein of like Cheers. And I'm super excited about it. I've been writing like little 1 to 2 minute scripts for them, and we have 2 ready. So one will be out. We're going to try to release them weekly. So we're going to have to start shooting probably 1 to probably like 3 to 4 episodes in a week, like in a weekend, and then release them weekly. But we're going to do that. So the first episode is the pilot episode, and then the second one is about Valentine's Day. So stay tuned for that. All right, I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to go make some food and just be a fat ass. That's what life's all about. I ain't here for a long time, I'm here for a good time. All right. I hope you guys enjoy your day. Don't forget to support local, drink local, and find your beer. Cheers.